And as far as any backlash or just like being treated differently, I don't think I've felt that much. I think any professionals that I've dealt with throughout my life and even business, now that I'm doing the business, I'm not just some like hoodlum that is just like ignorant and just getting face tattoos and stuff. They respect my decisions that I make and they don't even bat an eye to it really.
Today we're here with Shine and we're gonna be doing a tattoo tours episode. And first question we always start off with is, what was your very first tattoo?
Oh, my very first tattoo, mind you, I had no idea about anything to do with tattoos. Never touched a tattoo machine or nothing. Just a lot of friends were playing around with just like a eBay kit, right? And we were just messing around. I was trying to think what is the easiest thing I could do on myself without just doing something absolutely ridiculous. So of course I did something absolutely ridiculous. My first tattoo is actually on the side of my foot, and it's actually a stick figure, which is kind of hilarious. It's super tiny and it's blown out and everything. And it took me an hour to do with a single needle. If you all know what that means, I had no idea what liner to use or anything. I used a single needle on it, right? And I was wondering why it wasn't going in. So I was shoving it in deeper, and it took me an hour to do a stick figure, which is kind of ironic because a lot of people say like, oh, I couldn't tattoo because I can't even draw a stick figure. Me neither, you know, because I did a stick figure and it looks horrible. But I love that little guy, and it's actually one of my favorite tattoos because it was my first.
The reason I structure these questions, I like to ask everyone their very first tattoo, and then I'd like to ask them what was their most recent tattoo to kind of show that timeline of,
Gotcha.
Most likely, I would imagine it's probably better than that stick figure.
100%.
Yeah, so what is that most recent tattoo that you do have?
So yeah, most recent tattoo was, mind you, lately I've been getting like smaller tattoos, more trinket tattoos, filling in spaces and stuff like that. So I think the most recent one was I have an Old English S right here underneath the crown that I have. And this used to be an open space. And we just kind of randomly on any given day just got inspired to do it. I had my girlfriend Jessa do it for me. Luckily, I'm in a relationship with someone that does amazing tattoos. So anytime I get inspired, we could just slap it on there. So yeah, just a lot of trinket tattoos, but this S, that stands for shine or super or whatever the hell you want to call it. That's my most recent.
You mentioned the stick figure on your leg being one of your favorite tattoos. Do you have a favorite? I know that's a really hard question with people that have a lot of tattoos, but do you have that number one slot or no?
It's hard to say number one slot. I have like a group of favorites, I would say, and most of them are actually like the smaller, less well done pieces, which is kind of funny, but those just kind of state my journey along the way, right? But I'd say one of my favorite tattoos I did myself actually on my fingers actually, it's the evolution of man, but at the very end it's actually a star. And to me, it kind of represents growing into your shine, like growing into the star that you were always meant to be, but there's a process to getting there. So it's the evolution of man, starting from a straight up chimp to standing on his hind legs, to a full-blown human, to your full potential. And even though it's blown out and it's not done very well, it's a good reminder of me that your growth is always going to be a process, no matter at what point you're at. And it's just a fun journey to be on. One
of the main topics that comes up with getting tattoos, and it's different for everyone, is where was their most painful spot to get tattooed? Yeah. Do you remember that, or do you have one that
of course
kind of
sticks
I remember.
Out? Yeah. Yeah, dude. I'd say anything to do with around the neck or the collarbone area. That's a super like obvious answer, but I have plenty of tattoos that are around my collarbone and on my neck, on my throat. Honestly, these throat ones didn't hurt as bad because they were quick and they didn't take that long. But the ones on my side, I have a rose on the side, I have a owl on this side, and then I have Let Your Light Shine and script directly on my collarbone. Those were horrible. They were super painful. I think I was good for maybe 3 hours, and then after that it gets really excruciating, and you really gotta tap into whatever religion you believe in to get through it, you know what I mean? But yeah, so neck collarbone area, back is pretty bad, but neck collarbone area has probably been the worst.
Now, one thing that has become, I guess you could say, a trend is face tattoos.
Yeah.
Okay. A ton of people have face tattoos. You do have a face tattoo, but I know it was long before this trend got started.
Yes.
What came with that? What came with getting that very first face tattoo where you can no longer hide, all the ink that you have on your body at that point? It's visibly showing to everyone else.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll start with why I got it in the first place. this was years ago. This is before, you know, SoundCloud rappers were just getting so many face tattoos and just to stand out from the crowd. And that was just like an easy way to stand out. This was a little different for me. This was almost like when I got my hands tattooed in my apprenticeship. It was like a commitment to the craft or a commitment to what I was doing, the path I was on. So when I got the face tattoo, it's an old school Mickey Sharp's machine, which was my very first coil machine, right? And it was kind of my way of saying that no matter what I accomplish from here on out, no matter if it's outside of tattooing, within tattooing, it all started from tattooing. And I attribute everything that I have and everything I accomplished to tattooing. And that's kind of why I got it. It kind of like stamps me as like, this is where I started and this is where I'm going. No matter what direction I go in life, this is where it all stemmed from. And as far as any backlash or just like being treated differently, I don't think I've felt that much. I think any professionals that I've dealt with throughout my life and even business, now that I'm doing the business, they understand who I am and what I'm about, so much so. And especially when they get to meet me and talk with me, I'm not just some like hoodlum that is just like ignorant and just getting face tattoos and stuff. They respect my decisions that I make and they don't even bat an eye to it, really. Honestly, I'd probably look weird without it at this point because so many people are used to seeing me with it, right? So yeah, it's very special to me. And then I think as long as you're a respectable person and, you know, I like talking to people, I'm very articulate, and I think they get it right away that I'm not just some dumb guy, you know, getting face tattoos.
We had a little side conversation before we started rolling, and we were talking about how tattoo artists sometimes aren't very happy with the ink that they currently have on their body. For you, would you say you are satisfied? You like all the ink you have? Do you have any regrets on any tattoos that you have gotten?
I don't know if it's so much as like artists aren't happy with the work they have. It's just if you're trying to compare them to work that they actually know to be good now, it just isn't up to par because they got their tattoos on the come up of them trying to get to good tattoos. They didn't even know what good tattoos were at the time when they got these tattoos. So it was right for the period of time and especially their journey becoming a tattoo artist. So for tattoo artists, most of the tattoos they have were part of their journey rather than them trying to get the best artwork that they can get. As they get further in their career, they could be more like, oh, I know this artist now so I could get good work and I know what good work looks like now and I know where to go and all this stuff. But most of those tattoos are just not gonna be up to par compared to the collector's pieces and stuff like that. But as far as regretful, I'm not regretful of any of the tattoos I have for that very reason. It was kind of all a part of the journey. If I looked at my arms, I mean, I look tatted, but they're not the type of tattoos that you'd be like, wow, you're tatted. You wouldn't be like, wow, that's an amazing piece. It's just like, they just kind of all blend together, which I'm kind of cool with. A lot of these tattoos I did myself in the beginning. I had no one else to tattoo. It's a big deal to kind of use yourself as a guinea pig, especially going straight to the arm. But, you know, I was committed to it. I really wanted to do this. And tattooing on skin is way different than tattooing on fake skin or just practicing on an orange or something. So I wanted to feel what that real skin would feel like. And it just so happened that a lot of my tattoos are done by myself or just people at the time that weren't as good as well. But yeah, no regrets. Now, if I get tattoos, they're better. So it kind of makes up for it. Will I remove any of the tattoos in the future? I don't know, maybe. Just because life is long and then who knows, maybe I'll collect some crazy pieces in those spaces. But for now, I don't even think about it. They're just a part of the journey.
Would you be able to point out maybe some of those other tattoos that you yourself have put on yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, some of them are already covered up by other tattoos, but I did a lot of this, this music note star. I did these hand tattoos with these music notes, these lips on my hand. I did my fingers myself. I touched up this angel myself. I did these, this stands for music. And I did a lot of this writing that's underneath this. This is covered up now. And I think that's it. There's a bunch of stuff that was hard to reach that I kind of did. But yeah, before, it doesn't look that bad now, but before I tied it all together, it was pretty bad just because they're kind of splotchy and I didn't have any other tattoos on my body. So imagine how much they stood out, you know? They were pretty bright, like bam, 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 like really crazy at the time. But I knew eventually I would get it all tied in and stuff. And it's kind of fun tattooing yourself. I wouldn't do it now, but it's kind of fun.
How much space do you have left on your body, or is everything kind of filled up at this point?
Upper body is getting there to be filled up. I don't have anything on my legs. I was saving those for the last because me not being able to collect good pieces, now I got blank legs to collect those good pieces and stuff. So being very intentional about what I put on my legs. I do have gaps on my torso, like my ribs and stuff like that. I have a big gap on my back. I got about a good chunk of my back done, and then I got my chest is done. I got a lot of up here visibly, and then my arms are about 90% complete. You know, I got some gaps here and there and stuff, but for the most part, they're complete. Really, like, the spots I have left are very painful, so it's kind of like a stretch of time between each big session that I do, because they just hurt so bad. And I don't even really like getting tattooed that much, but I'll power through it, especially since I'm around such dope artists that put so much effort into it. It's only right that I put as much effort into sitting as they do into the work itself.
Are there any other tattoos that you think are noteworthy enough to kind of point out, or some stories that are coming to mind right now?
Yeah, one, so I have this owl on my neck right here, and it's nothing special, but it's a really nice done owl by my girlfriend, Jessa. And the idea for this came from, I actually go to therapy, right? And I have this therapist who is like a rock star therapist. She's become like a huge part of my life about like how to maneuver it. And part of her process for her clients is trying to attribute not just an animal, but just something to, I guess you could say, your spirit animal, but it's kind of different the way we put it and stuff in our sessions and stuff. But the owl for me kind of represents the wise, the observer, the gathering of wisdom. And then they're also vicious when they need to be and stuff. So kind of attributing some of my traits. I'm really big on collecting wisdom throughout my life so that I could then pass it on. You know, we talk about when people watch movies, which character do they usually gravitate towards is normally what kind of character they would be in real life. So some people gravitate towards the hero, some people gravitate towards even the thief or the king or the wizard. I've always been back and forth between the hero and what you would consider the sage, which is kind of like Merlin in the King Arthur story, right? I've always felt that even when at a young age before I had any wisdom. So a lot of that is now it's starting to show itself as I get older, and this owl kind of represents that transformation for me into becoming the sage that I've always been trying to build my way into.
The last question is, if you were to be able to get a piece by any tattoo artist, dead or alive, clean canvas, you got nothing on your body, and they can go anywhere, do anything, who are you getting tattooed by?
Oh man, that's so hard. That's so hard. Because there's plenty of artists I would like to meet and talk to, but again, I don't like getting tattooed that much. So in my brain, it doesn't just go to like, oh, I would love to get tattooed by them. I would rather like pick their brain and just do that. It's really hard to say. I'm a big fan of like Mark Wasguru, and he's great. He's alive and he's doing great work right now, and he's fucking awesome and stuff. But to be honest, I know it sounds like a simple answer, but I work around some of the best artists that I know, including my girlfriend. Jessa is one of the best black and gray artists, female or not female. And I work near her and I work next to her every day. And I know how meticulous she is. I know every decision she makes is just so calculated that she's never gonna make a decision that is like at a fault. It's always gonna be a good decision. And she's so well at executing that if you're just talking about the tattooing itself, that she is like my go-to for any piece that I would want, because I know she's going to do it justice. And it's kind of crazy to say that because it's very close to home, but there's plenty of people out there that I would just love to pick their brains, dead or alive. I mean, honestly, anybody who was around during the very beginning of tattooing is super awesome. I'd love to chop it up with like Freddie Negretti and stuff. I don't know why. I just I feel like his life story I could kind of relate to more than some other artists and stuff like that. You know, I didn't go to prison for as long as he did or anything like that, but just his come up and his struggle and being intermixed with gangs and stuff, and he was known for that before tattooing, and then he got into tattooing and it kind of changed his life, and then he was able to change his kids' lives through tattooing and stuff. That's just amazing. And yeah, just any OG I have respect for would be able to game me up on some stuff that I didn't already know, or maybe just verify some stuff that I already had in my own mind. So I just respect anybody that has that wisdom of time and experience in the industry.
Well, that's it for Tattoo Tours, episode 4. We shine. Cut it. All right. Next step is going to be getting B-roll of not just the tattoos you talked about. Obviously, those are going to be the ones we want to highlight, just so we have B-roll to back that up, but then just getting some shots of the other stuff you have as well. So